Hey, it's Wayne Wagner from Vizionary Wealth Management. I hope you're doing great today. This is going to be a little bit longer video because I want to talk 30,000 foot view about why I think the next 10 to 20 years of the American economy and the global economy are going to be absolutely unbelievably positive. Right now, we're worried about increasing interest rates, we're worried about inflation, we're worried about stock market glitches and a little bit of choppiness in the stock market. But there are things going on demographically, globally, that lead me to believe that the next 10 to 20 years, economically speaking, are going to be absolutely unbelievably positive, both in the US and the world. So let's get started in a few areas. First of all, we are seeing a demographic shift. And when I talk about demographics is a study of large population groups, okay? And so I want you to think about American history. From 1946 to 1964, the baby boomers were born, and there were 76 million baby boomers born. And America did everything from create Gerber baby food and Pampers to feed them and clean them, to we built most of our elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and university expansions to educate them. We then sent them off into the workforce. And by the way, while they were in their teens and 20s, we got the 60s and 70s. Massive social upheaval. We got abortion on demand. We got Roe v. Wade, which actually significantly dropped population growth in the 1970s. 1970s, my year, Generation X, was the lowest birth rate decade of the last 100 years in American history, all driven by that progressive movement of the 60s and 70s and the social upheaval. But then that group, the 76 million baby boomers, came of age. They came of age in the 80s and 90s, and what happened while they had their children, raised their children, built the suburbs, the economy exploded. We won the Cold War, defeated the evil empire of Russia and the Soviet Union. The stock market hit all-time highs. We had the tech advancement that led to really the tech bubble in the late 90s, you'll remember. But that all happened as the baby boomers, 76 million baby boomers, moved through their life cycle, economically speaking. And remember, we got a progressive wave in the United States, politically speaking, in the 60s and 70s, and then the nation shifted back a little right with Reagan, Bush, and then to the center with Clinton, and then we had the war on terror and stuff like that. But then the progressive policies came back in vogue, and if you'll recall, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. We had a pretty inert white guy president in Jimmy Carter, was kind of the tombstone on the progressive era, and we've got a pretty inert white guy president right now. So it's not, I've got 99 problems with every politician and every presidential candidate, so we're not going to get it too deep into politics. But demographically speaking, the Millennial Generation is now moving from their college and progressive years. They're having kids, they're buying houses, they're getting their little piece of land to put a fence around, and they are going to move back towards the center of American politics. And with 81 million millennials, they will economically trump the financial moves of the baby boomers. And so that's why in America, I think this is the front end of a really significant surge. I think the nation moves back to center politically speaking, and that's look, I got 99 problems with both ends of the political spectrum, so I lean libertarians personally, so we're not going to get into that. But the bottom line is, I think the nation moves back center politically, fiscally responsible. We've learned a lot of lessons in the last 40, 50, 60 years about how to do this better, how to have better business enterprise. We don't need strong unions, but we don't need runaway business either. And we don't need uncontrollable business. And so we're learning so much about doing business well, doing the economy well, and technology is just going to continue to keep grinding us forward. Economically speaking and demographically speaking, you also have massive populations in China and India that will come on board that are just creating massive bubbles of economic opportunity. Demographically, Africa is the youngest continent at this stage, and the opportunities there are huge. So I think the next 10 to 20 years are just unbelievably uncontrolled growth to the upside. But it's not to say we're not going to have negative years. It's not to say that we're not going to have fluctuation in the markets. As always, what we're doing as you move closer to retirement, we're making sure we're protecting the short term, the near term, 3, 5, 7 years worth of cash flow at all times, maybe a little more than that as you just enter into retirement. But beyond that, your longer term money, we should be investing for the back 9 of your retirement years, and then really planning to have that money pass on to your children and grandchildren and improve the lives of multiple generations of your family. I hope this helps you feel good about where you are and where we are economically and as a nation right now. I think there's tons of reasons to be positive at this stage. And we're always going to have fluctuation. There's always going to be things to be afraid of. But the long term here is that stocks win in the long run. Betting against American ingenuity and the progress of mankind as a species, and the ability for technology to advance and improve the lives and lifestyles of people globally, I think that's just a bad gamble. And so in the long run, we want to own stocks. In the long run, we think stocks win, and so we will be allocating resources and capital appropriately. If you have questions on this or any other topic, as always, give us a call. Here at Visionary Wealth Management, we're always here with perspective for the decisions ahead. Thank you so much for hanging in for a couple of extra minutes on this video update. Take care.